you are familiar with the word nonchalant? Yes, amazing. Now, keep those hands raised. Now, those of you who know the word from TikTok, keep your hands raised. Everyone else, you can put your hands down. About the same people. Yeah, okay. Now, for those of you who didn't raise their hands, the word nonchalant means to be indifferent, to be cool, to be careless. It comes from the French not and the French chalois, which means to have concern for. Interestingly, in the 1700s, when the word was being adapted into English, no one thought it was necessary to have chalant, a positive word, thus leaving us today only with the negative, nonchalant. Now, the reason I'm telling you the history of this word is because in the last few years, it has started being this phenomenon of a meme turned almost lifestyle that is, as our reliable research just showed, being spread by young people and teens. You can see how in 2024 the word literally exploded, and the subsequent questions like how can I be nonchalant were topics for discussion alongside almost all social media. Now, before I tell you why today we need chalant more than ever, I want to present to you a story of this sudden surge. And I want to exemplify why it's fundamentally important to all of our lives. Now, when this talk was being organized, the speakers were asked to share photos of themselves for social media. And the day I got the message, I got home, I propped up my phone, and I took a picture. And then I didn't really like it, I was a bit to the left, so I took another picture. And then here, I don't really like my eyes, so I took another picture. And then here my shoulders are a bit unlevel, so I took another one, and then another one. And then at some point, this seemingly easy and joyful task became one of the most tedious 4 hours of my life. And I started wondering why. Why do I subject myself to wanting to look like someone who I'm not? Why do I need to look both approachable but mysterious? Why do I want to be wise but not too much of a nerd? And as I started digging deeper, I found out that I wanted to be nonchalant. I wanted to exemplify this in my persona. But the thing is that I am not alone in this. Many people have recently started doing this. Think about yourself. Think about how you want to be perceived by others. Think about the person who you pretend to be. Of course, I don't want to talk about our self-image and the way it is altered. I don't want to talk about the fact that probably every second person in this room has experienced somewhat dissatisfaction with their own self-image. What stayed at the back of my mind was this question: why? Why do we do this? And the answers are a lot. Of course, it's social media. The way we portray our lives and we broadcast them to all of these different people, the way we are left with impressions, this creates FOMO, fear of missing out, that then drives us to alienate ourselves from our own life and real life personas. But I don't think it's just phones, and I don't think it's just social media. It could arise as an emotional response. It could be someone who is distancing themselves from drama. It could be someone who is tired from school and work, or it could even be someone who has experienced trauma. Now, with less stigma around mental health, people have started noticing these harmful things and have started removing them from their lives. And this is extremely valid. We cannot judge it. Besides that, it could also arise as a fight against cultural norms. You see, a few months ago, I scrolled by an article by Vogue titled, "Is Having a Boyfriend Embarrassing Now?" And I didn't read it, of course, but I still formed an opinion myself. And I genuinely believed that it would talk about protecting your inner peace, about maybe existing only with yourself and being at ease with that. And I genuinely thought so until I revisited the article a few weeks ago, and I was extremely low. It didn't focus so much on the boyfriend part, rather on the fact that women now have the opportunity by nonchalance to be someone else from their boyfriend's girlfriend. It's a fight for equality, and it's a fight for being recognized as someone with their own accomplishments and goals. And as I was reading, what surprised me the most wasn't the content, but what my previous assumption about it was. Because I really believed that it would somehow glorify detachment, or that it would say that caring less is better. And I realized that this problem runs deep within me. It's an inseparable part of me that I cannot just snap my fingers and say it's gone. And that's because when indifference is part of your small life, when it becomes a habit in the small things, it doesn't just stay there. It grows, it advances. It's like a cancer cell eating you up from the inside. And then it gets to the big stuff, your beliefs, your aspirations. And that's when it becomes dangerous because you don't even notice it. The process is extremely gradual. It spans a long period of time. And when that eventually happens and you start not caring about how others feel, about how you feel, that's when the real danger persists. You see, there's this study that was done last year that asked teenagers and young adults if they follow politics closely. And less than 60% of teenagers follow politics closely. And a staggering only 2 out of every 10 young adults do the same. It's something that we apparently can't control, or at least we have lost our way of control. It's an inseparable part from us. And if that persists, and if it continues to advance like it has, well, then either of two things happen. Firstly, nothing happens. Or worse, something happens without us. And if something happens without us, that's not okay. At that point, when we didn't care, we will now feel unheard, oppressed, powerless. There's the saying, if you don't do politics, politics will do you. If we want to be the change in our lives, in someone else's life, we have to get involved. We have to be part of it. We have to care. But how can we care? How can we do this hard task? Well, we have a voice, and we can use it. Because the world thrives on diversity. It shines when people shine. When you show that you care, it shows others that they can also care. Because we do have a problem. We confuse nonchalance with strength. We confuse hiding our emotions with sophistication. But caring, real, deep, passionate caring, is not a weakness. It's a strength. So, in a world that asks you to hide yourself so you can fit in better, or in a world that says, let go, just don't think about it, are you going to shrink? Or are you going to care? Are you going to act up, to speak up, to shine, to be shalom? Because the choice is yours. And whether you care or not, the world will